Alfa Romeo does sound more attractive than Società Anonima Italiana d'Iraq said, right? The luxury car brand had initially started with the name Società Anonima Italiana d'Iraq. Alfa Romeo was founded on June 24, 1910, when Cavalier Ugo Stella required the said shares. Niccolo Romeo took control of the company, and the transition of the name happened in 1915. The new name, Alfa, which stood for Anonima Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili. The mechanics of emotion. One thing always stood out about Alfa Romeo cars: their design. Alfa Romeo is all about passion, and their motto, the mechanics of emotion, and a belief that all cars have to look beautiful. Combining state-of-the-art performance and unmatched Italian touch in their design, they made cars which not only look appealing on the road, but indeed a great masterpiece to be displayed in an art museum. The logo of Alfa Romeo has its own significance. During the early days, their logo was a crest which consisted of ALFA letters and a few symbols. ALFA stood for Anonima Lombarda Fabbrica Automobili and represented the brand's strong connection to the city of Milan. The Alfa Romeo logo has evolved over time, but its core elements have remained the same. It is a split design with two halves. Each half represents a traditional symbol of Milan, the cross of the municipality on the left and the Visconti serpent on the right. This serpent symbol was chosen to represent the Visconti family. The rest of the logo is shrouded in secrecy. Cars. The first car to ever come out from Alfa was the 24 HP. It was designed by Alfa's young technical director, Giuseppe Morosi. The 24 HP featured a single-block 4.1-liter engine, single drive shaft, and reached a top speed of 62 miles per hour. Later, the same Giuseppe Morosi was assigned the task of designing a competitive sports car. The result was the Alfa Grand Prix, the first of its kind to feature a twin-spark ignition. This superb engine helped it to achieve a top speed of 87 miles per hour. There was a change of plan when World War I started. The company lacked funds to continue innovation and manufacture more cars. An electrical engineer from Naples, Italy purchased Alfa & Co. and started producing military equipment, airplane engines, and portable compressors. In 1924, Alfa launched P2. It was introduced for the circuit of Cremona in northern Italy. It was created by the new designer Vittorio Giano. It was equipped with an 8-cylinder supercharged engine and 2 forced induction carburetors. This was a limited edition model, and only 6 cars were built. This car was one of the best Grand Prix automobiles of the 1920s. Alfa continued to manufacture cars which left an everlasting impression in history, like the 2000 GT Veloce, which continued to impress the masses from 1971 to 1977. The 8C Competizione, 2007 to 2010, Montreal, 1970 to 1977, styled by Marcello Gandini, who also styled Lamborghini Miura. Alfa Romeo GTV 3.0, 1995 to 2003, Spider, 1966 to 1969, a 2-seater convertible that could easily be one of the most popular sports cars in the US. The Alfa Romeo 8C Competizione was produced between 2007 to 2010 for 3 years. It was powered by a 450 horsepower V8 engine. All the pre-orders were booked by car enthusiasts, and it ended up selling 1,000 models in the first year. The top speed was quoted to be 292 kilometers per hour. The Alfa Romeo Spider was produced between 1966 to 1994 in 4 distinct generations. From modest to extensive evolution during that time period, this model had evolved the most. The 105-115 series was a 2-seater, front-engine, rear-drive roadster, popular among the average end user and car enthusiasts. Alfa Romeo is a luxury sports car brand. But the best-selling model is not a supercar equipped with super high-end tech. It was actually a family car. The Alfa Romeo Alfa Sud is the best-selling Alfa of all time. It was introduced as a family car, boxy design, and a 4-cylinder engine. It made its debut in 1971 and was a hit. It sold almost 1 million units. The model was so popular that the company had to introduce a sporty version. It was called the Alfa Sud TI, and a station wagon called the Alfa Sud Giardinetta, also introduced in the mid-1970s. World Wars. Alfa Romeo has an interesting history alongside the World Wars. When World War I happened, the company went under the supervision of Niccolo Romeo. The factory, which once produced sports cars, was now producing military equipment and hardware and aircraft engines. After World War I ended, Alfa Romeo was producing cars again in 1919. In 1933, Alfa Romeo was taken under government control after World War II broke out. During that time period, the factory produced flagship vehicles for the wealthy. Unfortunately, their factory was bombed during the Second World War, and the company wasn't making enough profit as they had once seen. Luxury cars were no longer popular in the post-war scenario. They had to manufacture smaller, more affordable cars for the end users. Interesting facts. We already discussed the historic significance of Alfa Romeo's logo. But in 1923, Alfa Romeo racing driver Ugo Savacci put the logo of a four-leaf clover on his Alfa Romeo RL for the Targa Florio race. It was Alfa's first ever victory in the road race category. He died a year later in a car accident without the cloverleaf logo. Since the four-leaf clover represents luck, Alfa started using it on its performance cars. The symbol consists of a four-leaf clover contained inside a triangle, also referred to as a quadrifoglio. In 1920, Enzo Ferrari started working at Alfa Romeo as a racing driver. Since he had joined the unbeatable Alfa early on, he had a successful career from being a race driver to managing racer teams. Considering the number of wins, 1924 was his best season. He won 3 races: Ravenna, Polesine, and Coppa Scerbo. After a successful career, he left the company in 1939 to start his own company. The two companies, Ferrari and Alfa Romeo, are still closely related. One of the prime examples is the twin-turbo V6 power plant engine being used in the Stelvio and Giulia QV Alfa. On the brand's 105th anniversary, the new logo was unveiled. It's not a major redesign, only the colors have been reduced from 4 to 3, red, green, and blue. Other changes include a new font for the Alfa Romeo text and a textured silver background. These changes bring a modern look for a historic and super famous car brand. Alfa was dominating other car brands at Le Mans before the Second World War with 4 consecutive victories. They were also the first ever winner of a Formula One race. Between 1924 and 1930, Alfa had won 14 Grand Prix as well as other major racing events. Alfa Romeo became quite popular in its home country for its small and compact cars. These were specially designed for the Italian police and the armed forces. Some of the models included the Giulia Super and the 2600 Sprint GT. It is so popular in Italy that the official heads of the country prefer Alfa Romeo over any other brand. The prime ministers of Italy have been using Alfa Romeo since the 1960s. Also, the 164 and 166 were among the most popular models used by the prime ministers. No doubt that Alfa Romeo is a popular sports car brand. Many famous personalities have owned Alfa Romeos over time. Italian Prime Minister Joseph Muscat owned the Alfa Romeo 159 model. Mussolini owned an Alfa Romeo 6C. The car was restored and sold at an auction for a whopping $2 million. Racing career. Alfa started its racing career right after the company was established. Alfa's racing career debut was with their first vehicle in 1911. They participated both as constructor and engine supplier. Their first victory was at the 1923 Targa Florio, dominated by Ugo Savacci with the RL, the car with the four-leaf clover charm. It later became a symbol of good luck for Alfa Romeo race cars. Meanwhile, the first ever World Championship for Grand Prix vehicles was announced. Their new car, the GP Tipo P2, was reliable and extremely fast, and conquered the first ever Grand Prix in 1925. Alfa Romeo was unbeatable in the 20s and 30s, as it won 4 24-hour Le Mans races, plus 11 editions of the Mille Miglia. Alfa Romeo became state-owned in 1933, and the races were managed by Scuderia Ferrari. But the victories kept rolling in with the model Tipo C. The Venturetta GP Tipo 158 made its debut and was destined for a bright future. It was nicknamed Alfetta. After the World War, there were no models capable of rivaling the Alfettas. In 1950, the new Formula One World Championship started. The Alfettas secured 11 victories in 11 races. However, Alfa Romeo had to withdraw from the races to focus on production, undefeated. Alfa Romeo officially returned to racing with the Auto Delta in the 1960s. And on their official return to Formula One, they provided engines for the Brabham team. From 1975 to 1979, they participated with full vehicles and drivers of the caliber of Bruno Giacomelli and company. Current state. In the current era, Alfa Romeo not only focused its ambitions in motorsports cars, but also made an impact in the regular cars category. Not only they introduced industry firsts, which led to class-leading performance, but also innovation and adaptation, which helped them survive for a century-long period. Their most popular Stelvio is a prime example, and also the first ever SUV by the brand. They have truly evolved with time in the course of their 100 years of existence. Alfa Romeo defined the term design with their magnificent creations. The modern sports car designs are indeed an impact of Alfa Romeo's innovation. The whole new generations of Alfa Romeo represent the brand's legacy. Their latest models are based on the same philosophy, unique Italian style, and efficient environment-friendly experience without compromising on the brand identity. Would you ever consider buying an Alfa Romeo? Or would you choose a Maserati instead? Let us know in the comments section down below.